All right, we are live. It is Friday, February 7th, and you know what that means. That means it's Fiverr Friday. We got to have some special effects. We need some effects in here. Woo, something. But anyways, welcome to Fiverr Friday. It is wonderful to be doing this live stream. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is called The VO's Journey, which is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. So, got my coffee, got my ceremonial pencil. I am ready to start answering your questions. And whatever you have, I am here to help. If you are new coming into this for the first time, if you don't know, this session on Friday is where you come and bring questions, post them into the chats, post them on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you might be, and I will do my very best to answer them. I do have a question that already came in. Thank you, Lola. So I do want to quickly address that. It has been, one heck of a week. Both of the kids ended up staying home all week. So they are being quiet at the moment. So that's a good thing. But that has been wild. Of course, I've been sick. It was funny is that I was... this morning trying to just make it through. And the funny thing is that this morning I got an urgent message from a client in Europe asking me to do an emergency live directed session for their client. And so, I'm in my pajamas and I'm like, okay, all right. So I run up into my booth and get on Skype, phone patch kind of ways. And did a session this morning, so that was interesting, and it worked out. And they were very happy, but that's when you say, "Man, I love my job." So that was pretty cool, interesting. You never know. So let's see. I hear somebody just said, "Do you have a topic for today?" Before we start, so the topic I have today actually comes from a previous question. That I had gotten actually a little earlier today from someone who was interested in, having me answer this for the session today. And the question was, how do you organize your files when you are working on Fiverr, like when you're delivering them and everything? So I'm going to tell you exactly what I do. I deliver all WAV files unless specifically asked not to. Now, I know on Fiverr there's an option for you to deliver WAV files or you don't have to deliver WAV files. All right, and then you can charge for WAV files, and some people do. I do not charge for WAV files anymore, and a lot of people are not, just because, when I first when I first finish my files in like Adobe Audition, I have them automatically saved to WAV files as backups anyway. So I just send them and offering it as a perk because if you've looked around Fiverr, you know that that's searched for often. So anyways, because of that though, they add up. So what I have is I have a separate hard drive, and that I have it's about 1 terabyte of memory, and I just hook it into my computer. It's with a USB, and basically every day I get on there and I create a new file folder. I have a month folder, and in that month folder I have a new file folder for every day, which is called like Fiverr, and then the date that I have it, which has become extremely helpful over the time that I've done this. And basically every piece of work that I do that day goes into that file within that month. And it's very, very helpful to me being able to pull up work on a regular basis. Plus, it's not saved on my computer. It's saved separately on a portable hard drive. But I find that I need that much space. And actually, at this point, I've used a lot of it. So, it's kind of one of those things where I'm happy about how I do that system. So if you're looking for a new system, that's a great way for you to manage your files, have a portable hard drive, And now I will say that this type of hard drive does cost around, probably around $100. So it's not cheap. The hard drive is not cheap. So, I think that, yeah, it really struggles with that when it comes to cost. You can use thumb drives. People do that, but I find that runs out too quickly. So that's what I do. Now, on a side note, by the way, when you are working on Fiverr, everything is saved through Fiverr, on the particular person's site. So like if you send a file through that person's order, it saves it so that you can go back, whenever. But the challenge you run into is finding that file. And especially like for me, I do a lot of files where they are, they are multi-track files, or I'm editing them, and there's multiple tracks in one. So I have learned my lesson that I save that track setup and all those files because, for example, I've started to do a lot more podcasts and a lot more things where I'm adding music and effects and things. So because of that, I save the multi-file or whatever, and that way I can always go back. It's like like SESX, something like that, dot whatever. It's whatever file it's called, but it saves the editing portion of it so that you can go back and edit it rather easily. So that's extremely helpful. So that's what I recommend that you do. And if you are not doing that yet and you're just using your computer, just make sure that you title your files and that the work that you do, the day, the month, and I think someone, I don't know, just watching for a year, you know what I mean? And that helps a lot, helps you find it. And it's been invaluable for me. All right, so I hope that helps and answers that question. Yes, go ahead and start posting questions now. It has been a definite, interesting month, 2 months, or January and February. What was interesting about January was going a little bit slower, and then it picked up a lot at the end of the month for me. And then February has been a little bit slower, and then it's picked up again. So it's definitely interesting, the beginning of the month, because I just got so I just got a book deal, which, if you know me recently, I'm not doing many books at all anymore. I charge a lot of money to do books, and this particular person was kind and generous enough to pay what I was charging for the book. So I have another book on my plate, which is fine, and that always helps. And then I've been getting more and more orders recently as well, so that's really nice. But anyways, so Fiverr definitely has done well. I've been doing, hopping in there, doing my 10 a day. Something really interesting, if you have customers on Fiverr, a great way is, like previous customers, right, that you've worked with, if you go under the section where it says more on the top ribbon, and there's a contact list, and it lists all of your buyers that have bought from you, you can reach back out to them. And I did that the other day. I sent out like 37 just messages 2 days ago. Now I have almost 1,000 buyers that I've worked with, but I just sent out 37 because after a while Fiverr gets a little, they think you might be a robot, you know what I mean, if you're sending out so many messages. And but anyways, so I got a job. I got a job the same day I sent out the messages. Someone was like, "Oh yeah, actually I do need a job." I mean, it was just for a message, for a message, but it was easy, quick, and good money, and it was great. And it was just me sending out messages for people I had worked with in like 2 years. So, you never know. Those lists are invaluable as well. So that's another great way to just get on the platform. What I love about Fiverr is they've made it to where you can grow your business while you're on the platform as well, taking learn courses, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, let's go ahead and start getting into it. If you've got some questions, go ahead and post them now. We've got Jody. Hi, Jody. We've got Corey. We got Kurt over at Instagram. It's great to have you guys. We got Laura Lee on Facebook. What's up, Laura Lee? We got Samir on YouTube. We got Edson on YouTube. What's up? Ready to go. Lola says, welcome back. Yep, thank you, Lola, as I said. Kendall, good Friday. What's up, Kendall? Lazarus on YouTube. Richard, what's up, my man? Good to see the wind didn't blow you away. Absolutely. Oh, so it has been not like so windy here today. I don't know what the gusts are, but we had like our doors were slamming. I mean, outside, because we had some windscreens as well. And I mean, it's just been crazy windy here today. So absolutely, Richard. Let's see. Evan, what's up? Happy Friday to you too, Thomas. Yeah, so that was the topic today, Tom. So let's see. Donna, hello, Donna. Zach on YouTube. Off work early so I can focus on the show today. Awesome, Zach. It's great to have you. Let's see. Thomas, being sick is when you audition for those cold medication commercials. Absolutely. Here's a little tip that I have too. I don't care if I'm sick, if I can talk well or not. I still am willing to do voiceover work. And I find, now you can't repeat this, of course, but I find that when my voice is worse off, people actually enjoy it better sometimes, because you get that grovelly type of tone and people are like, oh, it's so good. But then when they come back for revisions, you're like, I can't repeat that. So there's only downside to that. All right. So let's see. Samir says, "Oh, no, no PJs." Yeah. I debated, but I figured that it would be more distracting. All right. Thomas says, "Year, month, date." Yep, we're talking about. All right, Chris. When it's Q&A time. All right, here we go. We got a question here. I'm making my way through your podcast, and in an old episode, you say less than 1,000 impressions a week for a gig means something's wrong. Is that still a good benchmark number in 2020? Okay, so let me preface that. Great question, Chris. So if you are just starting out, within like a month or two, then, that's not necessarily a true statement because you're just getting started on there. However, you should be having more than 1,000 impressions a week. Oh, it says a week. Okay, so 1,000 impressions a week. So if you're getting 1,000 impressions a week over the first month or two, you're doing pretty well. But as you go along, that would be 4,000 impressions a month. Okay, that's not terribly bad only if you have one gig up. And you see what I mean? So that's not the kind of advice I give. Because if you're just starting out and you're trying to grow, right, which we all are, I try to put up multiple offerings. Okay, so if that's the case, you should be able to start generating more. However, 4,000 impressions a month is nothing to shy away from. But if you are actively working on Fiverr, like trying to do your 10 a day, your 10, what is it? Your 10 offers a day, trying to get business, put up new gigs, making sure you're changing out and keeping your stuff fresh, you should be getting higher than that. Okay, your goal should be to get as many impressions clearly as possible. But I want to say that again, because here's the thing. The more impressions you get, clearly, you're going to get more work. And this is where the conversion rate comes in. That's important. I think I said on one of the other Fiverr Fridays, that mine stays between 1% to 3%. Now, I know other people's are higher and maybe some people's are lower. And yes, it does vary. But the key thing here is like, my main gig, because I have 7 up myself, my main gig has, it can fluctuate. I mean, this January and February, I've gone down to around 30,000 impressions on my main one, but it also can go up to 60 and 70,000 impressions. And I imagine someone like Red or some of the people who are number 1 or number 2 spot constantly on Fiverr are probably over 150,000 impressions a month. Okay. And that's how they're generating that much work. Do you see what I mean? Because so many people are seeing them. And again, it goes back to that whole idea about Google, right? And being on the first page and in the first 3 slots. those people, I don't know if you remember those numbers or you ever heard them, but those numbers were staggering about the people who were first in line, right? Like they were on the first page, but then on the first, first slot. So at Fiverr, I would consider the people above the fold. It's an old newspaper term, right? And on the internet, it's the same thing. Like when you pull up the site, it's the people that pop up first that you don't even have to scroll. You see their faces immediately. It's like above the fold, or when a paper was folded, right? It was, the news that you saw right away without opening it up above the fold. So anyways, the point is that, the old Google numbers were something like, it was insane, like 90% or 95%. It was an insane amount of number, 93% of people or the businesses that were on the front page. Like in the first couple of slots, we're getting 93% of all of the traffic. And then as it goes around, that's what, everybody's getting the rest of it. And then the second page or the third page might as well, you're not getting as much traffic. Now, with the different searches and the number of people. Now, remember, though, this is the fact. Google, of course, is, billions and billions of pages and things on that, where we're not doing that on Fiverr. But it still stands to reason that you should be doing everything you can to be seen by as many people as possible. Again, one of the ways to do that is to spread out and have more gigs. Now, some people will say, all right, Anthony, I've heard that it's better to, combine all of my stuff into one gig. And I'm going to be square with you on that. I personally believe that there is a time to do some trimming on your gigs. But when you're just starting, you've got to find a way, you got to find a way in. A lot of people make great money on Fiverr, way more than on ACX, on Fiverr doing audiobooks, right? I've had more people pay me industry standard rates for audiobooks on Fiverr and higher than that, way higher than that, on Fiverr than I ever have on ACX, okay? So that's one thing. I mean, we're talking about podcasts. We're talking about IVRs. We're talking about so many different options on Fiverr that you wouldn't get in front of people if you only had one gig, right? Because when you're first starting, again, you're not having any luck because you're just starting out and you've got no reviews, or you have very little, or, you have no traffic. So in order to show up more, you got to show up more. And then a little tactic, if you will, is when people message you and they ask you to work, do a custom offer, you can decide what gig you choose to get that custom offer. It's kind of like funneling the work. Like you're putting out, again, as many fishing rods as possible, and you're funneling that work through one gig. So let's say you have, a female voiceover. You're offering American female voiceover, right? But you also have audiobook, and you've got IVR, and you've got podcast, and you've got radio, and you've got e-learning. And someone finds you on one of those things, and they contact you, and you say, yeah, I'll help you. And you send them a custom order, but you send it through your main gig so that everything you're trying to do is building that main gig, right? And don't forget, people can find the rest of your gigs by just scrolling down or even going to your profile and clicking on your name. So it's not like they don't know that you do other stuff. They're just contacting you to see if you can help them. So that's something that I would definitely recommend, that you do everything you can to get as many impressions as possible. And in 2020, it's even more important, Chris. And I think it's even more important because it is a fact. I mean, let's be honest. Fiverr more and more people every single day are coming to Fiverr, voiceover artists, and it's growing. More and more top-rated sellers are being added every day. I remember when we were originally first doing this, or not doing this, but first getting into Fiverr a few years back. I remember starting to have some success, and people, really, there was some really visceral anger out there towards Fiverr. And I'm not saying it's not there anymore, but it doesn't seem to be as bad because a lot of those people are secretly getting onto the platform. But the thing is that I remember saying to people, don't try to get more people onto the platform because it's like a hidden gem for us, because the more competition, right? It's just the more challenging it will be to get on there. But anyways, that doesn't mean that you can't make it and you can't make a lot of money on there. You just need to focus on getting seen as much as you can and then funneling the work through the gig that you want to grow. All right, so that's a little tactic or tip. All right, so good question, my man. All right, let's see. We got Richard. We got Keto over it. Says, "Ha, this is cool. Different point of view." Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, I know. This is my screen, and you got the Instagram from the phone. Okay, so let's see. We said great question, Richard at Chris Martin. Yes, definitely. B Dog at 45. What's up? Steve, where is your PJs? I know. Well, I had to put on this shirt and clean up some here for the live. It's only fair that you guys get, a better representation than PJs. All right, Thomas, you mentioned Fiverr thinking you're a bot. Is there a solid target number to stay beneath the recontacting former customers? So like I said, I did 37. All right. And I did them. But see, here's the thing. I did 37 and I built a template like I like to do so that I can go quicker. And I do believe like the speed and everything. My suggestion would be, 20 to 30 a day is a good number. 20 or 30 a day is a good number. And that should stay below. Now, listen, Fiverr did not stop me. They just came up and a screen popped up and said, can you please click here to make sure that you're not a bot. Now, I've learned my lessons with Fiverr. As soon as anything like that pops up, I'm done. I won't do anything more. I won't push the envelope. They didn't tell me to stop, but I decided not to push the envelope anymore. So I would stay between 20 to 30 a day. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. JC, what's up? I've noticed, I think it was last week that you were Fiverr recommended or whatever it is. Yes. There's a something that calls Fiverr's Choice. Yeah. Do you ever notice if your sales go up after that? Oh yeah, they do. Yes, they do. If you are a Fiverr's Choice, your sales absolutely go up. Yes, because they promote you. And by the way, if you go onto Fiverr and you just look at one, like one offer, like you click the voiceover button, and there's people there under best selling, etc. You remember, that's not how, there's so many different places to find voiceover artists from Fiverr, etc. And Fiverr uses those things to email customers. What you don't know, right, is because because we're sellers on there, is Fiverr has quite a big email list as well, right? I mean, think about it. Everybody who signs up, they can email. So Fiverr emails people, Fiverr recommends things to people, right? Fiverr, like if you went to Fiverr or something, they recommend that person to you, all right? Or recommend you to that person. I mean, so as a Fiverr's Choice, you really get a lot of promotion. And yes, your sales do go up a lot. Let's see. However, you don't control, like you can't fill out a form or whatever. They just choose you based on, to my knowledge, I believe it's just based on good reviews and things like that. I've never gotten some clear data. I've messaged them multiple times, but they don't, they won't tell me. Those algorithm people, they like lock them in a room somewhere, I think, and they don't let anybody see them. Okay, let's see. Tom says, bought a 6 terabyte external, nice, a while ago and store everything on a date by end project. Was expensive, but will take a long time to fill. Absolutely, Tom. That's awesome. Laura Lee, I changed my gig to low, smooth voice when I'm sick. Oh, I like that. Yeah. I love doing it too when I'm there, but I'm just not able to redo it. Like, when somebody wants revisions, they're like, it doesn't sound the same. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to sound the same. Let's see. Thomas says, hey, Storm. What's up, Storm? Where's Storm? Did I miss Storm? All right. Hiya. There. You're right there. What did I? Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going. Donna from YouTube. What kind of jobs do you get where they want you to add music and sound effects? I'm really interested in that kind of thing. So a lot of things I get a lot of jobs, for example, for intros and outros, podcasts. I'm doing a lot more podcasts. It makes sense because I talk all day, so I guess people think I can do them naturally. But I do podcasts. I do videos, like if somebody wants a radio spot where they want me to produce the whole radio spot, I do that. I also do animation videos. So a lot of times I work with people who have animators, but they want me to do a collection of voices, take other voice actors and add music and all kinds of other stuff. So I do that. But I find most of it boils down to either intros or outros, podcasts, YouTube videos, or IVRs. So I do that. Yeah. So that's what I do a lot of music for. Okay, let's see. Thank you, Don, again. All right. JC says, my average on Best Gig is about 900 to 1,000 impressions a week. I mean, so that's a great start. The thing is that, think about it this way. If you, again, the reason why I love that data is because you can kind of set your watch by it. You really can, about how much work you're getting. Right. So if you're getting 4,000 impressions a month, how much work is that netting you? So that nets you like 5 jobs, right? Well, then you need to get like 8,000 to get 10 jobs, and you need 12,000, right? You need 12,000 to get 15 jobs, et cetera, et cetera. And it really does matter. I mean, it is incredible. I have to tell you guys, it is incredible. Like, you could set your watch by the impressions and what work you're able to get. And Fiverr control, I mean, that's a lot of control for us. I mean, for them to have over us as well. So, that's another topic. But it's amazing because the more impressions you get, you're going to get way more work. Let's see. You're level 1. Nice. Storm says, hey, I'm Facebooking it today. Nice. Chris says, I was hoping it was less. Dang, I have 4 gigs ranging 70 to 431 a week. Something ain't right. Well, it could be something ain't right, or it could be that you need to continue to try to find the hole and then grow your business. By the way, it might not also be that something's wrong. It could be something is you're just not built up enough cred, if you will, on that platform yet. Right, on Fiverr. So you got to keep plugging away. You got to keep trying. That's why I recommend people don't just put up some gigs and then never pay attention to it anymore. Right? You got to keep working at it and keep trying to figure it out. I'm serious. So that's the best way to do it. And what's interesting is, it's just like anything, right? The more attention you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. It's just like anything in life. The more attention we pay to something, the more we're going to get from it. So you can't put up stuff on there and expect it to just be what it is. And I mean, unfortunately, nothing is like that, right? You've got to pay attention to it. So the more attention you give to it, the more stuff you keep working on, the more, trying to get more impressions and deliver quality stuff, the better, more work you're going to get. Okay. Keep working on your pictures. Keep working, what pictures, what looks good to everybody. You know what I mean? Keep working on all that. All right. Thomas says, if you run compression on that, it's going to last you a good long while. The drive will give out before your storage space does. Stated from former IT Pro. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I have just 1 terabyte, and I've been using it for years now. All right. So let's see. Susan says hi, and hey, Susan. Embodied Entertainment, what's up? All right, we have the man with the voice joined us over on Instagram. Good to have you. We got Thomas says, why do you suppose they go through Fiverr instead of ACX? Good question. So my experience is most of the people that go through Fiverr, all right, are brand new, and they're not sure about ACX at all. So what I have done is I realized for a period of time when I first started getting a lot of audiobooks on Fiverr, because like I said, I don't do many anymore. But when I was charging about $250 per finished hour on Fiverr, which is around and close to industry standards, I was getting a lot of books, and they didn't, because none of them knew how to get their work on ACX. So they would come to a site like Fiverr hoping that someone would also be able to help them. So what I did, help them, like walk them through the process. So I saw that. So I created this whole kind of package deal where I would help the person I was working with get their stuff on ACX, walk them through it if they wanted. I would even, talk to them on the phone. By the way, never contact anybody or give out contact information on Fiverr until they have already purchased it through the gig and it's gone through. Fiverr doesn't mind after they've purchased, but never give it out before they have purchased or you'll get suspended and put under review. Okay? Like I always say, Fiverr wants their money. So make sure that you don't do that until after. But anyways, the point is I created entire processes on PDF files and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 processes for people my clients to use to know how to do get their audiobooks published on ACX and on Amazon and on iTunes and all that stuff. And I found that they were willing to pay those rates because they had no clue how to do any of it, right? So, I can tell you there's a lot of people also on Fiverr paying a lot less than that as well, okay? But, it is what it is. So that's why I think that I would get those rates. And now, when I work with somebody too, like, the book I just got, very nice people, but I'm a top rated seller and I have all this stuff. So, I can decide to do that. And by the way, I will tell you this, and after working with many people and doing what's been eye-opening for me is doing the audiobooks, like the editing side, is that, a lot of times, right, when someone pays a very, very low price, except that we're just starting out, you can tell sometimes, right, that people want to search for people who are charging a little bit more because they feel like they're going to get a little more value. Remember that as well. You starting out on Fiverr and you're charging $5, that's perfectly fine. But that shouldn't be your end goal. Your end goal should be to build your business until you're so busy to raise then to $10 for whatever. Now, I know we're talking about audiobooks, so that's something different, but I'm just saying in general. And then when you're so busy at $10, you raise it to $15. Other people have other, suggestions and everything. That's just what I've learned that's worked very well for me. Okay? But yeah, definitely. That's I think why I get paid a lot more on Fiverr. Because on ACX, you're already doing it for the person. So it's like it's a part of the deal, right? Okay, let's see. Pushing through being sick. Thomas. Okay, Judy says, "Hey, what's up, Judy? Flu bug gone? Well, it won't go away, but I'm definitely live and kicking, and I should be happy. And I'm happy. You know what I'm really happy about, you guys, is I'm happy that I can be here. I can do work. I can be with my children, and I'm not losing any revenue. I'm not worried about things tanking on me. It's an amazing feeling, and I wish all of you to have that feeling one day. With running this business full time from my home, and it's been a joy in that sense, and I'm very thankful. And it allows my wife. There was some big things going on in her job, some that happened. That she had to really spend time at her job. So normally that's a disaster, right? Because the kids are home. I've got work. She can't be home, and she's been home a little bit later this week. But it's all worked out fine. Now, it doesn't mean it's not stressful, but it works out fine because I'm here. Whereas before, when I was working my day job, it would have been an absolute nightmare. So I'm very fortunate for that. Let's see. Donna says, okay, I'm going to have to ask, what exactly is a gig and the impressions you are talking about? All right, Donna. So a gig is what is called your offering on Fiverr. So it's what you offer. So Fiverr set this thing up where, you offer see, this is what I was talking about earlier too, in one of the other sessions, is that Fiverr has done everything they can to turn services into products. So one way to do that is by, creating this idea about the gig economy, right? So it's like an offering, like I will offer you 150 words for $20 or something. Right? That's an offering, or called a gig. You're allowed by Fiverr to have more postings. So like if I say a gig could be, I will record an American male voiceover, okay, for 150 words for $20 or something like that. and then broadcast rights and commercial rights and all that with the extras. Or you could say, I will record an e-learning voiceover, okay, for your project. All right, that's another gig that you could create that's separate. Right, and then they allow you to create all these different offers, if you will. All right, we call them gigs, but they're just separate offerings packaged nice and neatly into this like one little one little I don't know, just one little thing that you can do for someone that they can do. Another thing, People Per Hour from the UK has done something similar to that, right? Because I have an offering on there, or a gig. So anyways, and you can have multiple gigs. You could charge different for each one. You can have a different timetable for each one, right? But it's the idea of a gig is taking a service and turning it into a product. Right? That's the idea of it. And what the thought behind it probably is too, is that it makes the buyer, it makes them understand it a lot more, and it's easier for them to put their mind around it. Okay? Instead of, even though we see it a lot where we negotiate all the time with people, but it's still this idea of a product. Okay? All right, so I hope that helps. The impressions are how many times does your gig show up? When someone searches for voiceover or whatever, how many times does it actually show up in the search? Okay, then there's also views and clicks. All right, and views is like actually someone views your gig, they actually see it on their page, because an impression can be that you come up, but someone doesn't actually see it per se, like they don't hover over it and spend time looking at your demo, listening to it. But then a click is when they actually click on your gig and go into your description section. Okay, so those are other things too. And I've done some work about the percentages that I find to where it should be above 50-50 per like views to clicks and things like that. And if that's low, that gives you more numbers to look at your data. Like if you're getting views and not clicks, what should that tell you? That should tell you there's something not working out quite right with your demo. Okay, so like if people are looking at your stuff and then they're not clicking through, that means they're listening or they're not listening, or they're listening to your demo, right? Because you put up a video, because we know videos get 40% more traction on Fiverr than not having a video. But remember, your video can simply be your face with some words, and then you embed your music beneath it, and now you have a video. But because of the way the search works on the front of Fiverr, when someone comes in and then we've got all our faces there, they don't have to click all the way through. They can browse and they can listen to just your demo. But if you don't have that video, they can't listen to it. They have to actually click multiple times to get to your demo. And you know what? People aren't going to do that. They want to browse. So that's what that ratio helps you know, that if someone's listening to your demo and then they're not clicking through, then you know something's wrong with your demo and it's time for you to refresh it or get something new up there. Or it could be that it's not what people are looking for, even if it's good. I have a lot of people with incredible demos, but it might not be what people are looking for on that platform. So if you want work, you've got to change it around. Okay? Let's see. Good question, though. Yeah, I got the sniffles today. All right, where was I? Okay, cool. So great question, Donna. Chris says, Donna, gig is... Oh, sorry. He tried to answer that. Thomas says, secretly getting on the Fiverr platform. There you go. Jonathan says, I'm just about to go up to level 2. Awesome. Is there anything I should know? Phil, with recent radio layoffs, I bet even more people are coming to Fiverr. That's true. That was Phil, I really feel that is something big and important to note, right? Because iHeart laid off so many people and all those radio people, which is tough, right? So I would definitely, okay, thank you. I would definitely, think about that and just be aware that is something that is happening, right? All right, cool. So with that being said, sorry, the kids were delivering something to me. But with that being said, it's again important. And you know what's so funny about that? You mentioned that, Phil, is because I believe I talked about that. A few sessions ago, where we said, hey, just be aware there's going to be a lot more people flooding into Fiverr, especially because of all the radio layoffs that are going on, and they're just going to get more. right? More and more people are going to be laid off. It's just the way of the world with the way the world works and the internet and everything. With anybody can create their own radio station. I mean, it's just what it is. So it's sad, but it is what it is. So you have to just be aware of that, which means you got to just be working that much harder. Okay. Let's see. Jonathan says, I'm just about to go up to level 2. Is there anything I should know? No, just keep hitting it hard, Jonathan. There's nothing you should know. Keep hitting it hard. You'll get a boost for going up to level 2. But then, you got a new set of people to work with. So you just make sure you're hitting it hard, putting up your gigs, and trying out and testing things to keep getting business. Just don't stop trying new stuff and pushing hard, because when you do that, you get complacent. Complacency is the precursor to, nothing happening to you. So that's important to note. Okay, let's see. Phil, with recent, I already got that. Jesse, enjoy the stream. Thank you, Jesse. Embodied Entertainment. Does Fiverr's free course also boost your gigs for a week as well? I've heard a lot of people go back and forth on this. I took the course. I did not see a boost on that particular course, but my thought process is so many people take that course that it's probably hard for Fiverr to boost that one. Okay. So, that's another thing. And you have to think too, is that, and this is what I believe, depending on how many people taking the courses, okay, I believe there's got to be some sort of order that it happens and where they promote you and what they do with it, right? So I've noticed that sometimes when I take a course, I get boosted right away. But then I notice sometimes when I take a course, it takes them a week or two to boost my stuff. And I just feel, again, this is just my opinion, I feel that there's got to be some pecking order to all this, meaning that, if a whole bunch of people are taking courses, they can't boost everybody at the same time, right? So I'm assuming that there is, it can be backlogged. Now, that's just an assumption. It's my opinion. All right, again, there's no substantiated data behind that, but just my own observations of taking about 18, I've taken 16 to 18 courses now. I've taken a lot. So anyways, let's see. I'm actually on Fiverr as a customer, but haven't gotten an email from them from that side for 2 years. Interesting. Good to know, Thomas. Thank you. They need to get their acting gear. Steve, let's see. I see customers who believe that a commercial for their business podcast shouldn't have broadcast rights. What's your take on it? Well, first off, Steve, I think that the big key for me that's changed my business is really, really, really driving home what broadcast rights and what commercial rights mean, and putting it into places where the customer has to see it and read it and then actually click buttons saying that they want it or don't want it. The requirements page is one of the most important pages to me and my business in making money on Fiverr, because on that page, it's where I specifically tell them they have to choose yes or no, whether they want commercial rights or broadcast rights, and let them know what they can and cannot do if they don't have those. And it's important to note as well that the words you use are extremely important, meaning people don't get, I've had a lot of people I work with who say, I don't need to buy commercial. I own the rights to my work. I don't need to get rights from you. They don't understand what what we're talking about is the intellectual rights for our, performance, right? That's the rights that we're talking about, but they don't understand that. And you have to explain it in a manner in which someone who is around the world can understand. Now, remember, different places in the world also have different laws. And there's some places where they don't have the same type of laws that we have in the U.S. or we have other places. Okay, so, that is, again, why, you can also call Fiverr the Wild Wild West as well, because, you've got people everywhere all over the world, and there's different situations in different countries. And, so with that being said, you have to, in the end, you have to make a choice. The choice is either A, you work with the person, or you don't. And you decide, or you tell them I'll work with you, but you're not allowed to use the music, use my work to promote your brand in any way. I like to use the word promote because people get that. people seem to really, that resonates with people when I say promote. So anyways, the point is that, and I've talked about this a bunch though, Fiverr does have an intellectual property section. If you go all the way down to the bottom, there is a place where you could click on that. If someone is violating that and you've caught them, you can actually submit that claim to them. Okay. So yeah. All right. Tom says, I'm still not quite sure what the difference is between an impression and a click. So Tom, an impression is when you like somebody clicks on voiceover, clicks or types in voiceover, and you come up in the search on the page. That's an impression. When you actually are on the page that someone has pulled up, whether it's on a phone, whether it's in an email, on a computer, on an iPad, no matter where it is, if it comes up, that's an impression. A click is when someone actually clicks on your gig itself. That's a click. Okay? All right? Okay, so can you add samples? Samir says, can you add samples to gigs that are already posted? Samples to gigs that are already posted. So, as a top-rated seller, I can. Fiverr implemented this thing where I actually have a portfolio section. And if you've been to my gig, you can see that. It's ATPCRE. That's my name of my gig. And there's a whole portfolio section. Now, what's interesting enough is that I've gone around a lot and I've looked at a lot of other sellers and not many people use it. I mean, other top-rated sellers. I, however, do. I have multiple videos on there and I get business from people watching it. Now, to my knowledge, if you are not a top-rated seller, you do not have this option, but there's a portfolio option as well that you can have. If you are not there, you can upload up to 3 different audio files on top of your video. And those audio files, I think, can go up to like 2 or 3 minutes or something, right? So you can add more samples. So what happens is when they click on your video, those below your video, there's all those different like pictures and stuff. If they scroll over and you've put video on there, they're going to be able to listen, or you put your files in there, they're going to be able to listen to more samples. So absolutely you can. Yes. And rotate them through. It gives you an opportunity to refresh your gig as well. Okay, good question, Samir. Brand says, if I may, after you reach the top seller $20,000, so Brand's talking about you got to hit $20,000 is that's the big hump. I think it's from $2,000 to $20,000 to be qualified to get to top rated seller. When they finally put you on top rated seller, how much had you then offered? Not sure what you mean, how much had you then offered. Maybe you can explain that a little bit more, Brand. I don't know if you mean like how much I was charging or how much money I made, or I'm not quite sure. So maybe you could explain that again. Oh, you said it down here. Offered was wrong, earned. I am sure it was over 20. Can you give us an idea on that number? Yeah, so Brand, the number actually doesn't matter. I'll tell you exactly what matters. What matters is your average selling price. Okay, your average sell. So when we get to certain parts of your journey on Fiverr, if you will, there are different things that you have to do in order to move to the next level. And when it comes to being a top-rated seller, you really need to focus on your average selling price. Okay, because Fiverr is going to really promote you and want to promote you if you are having an average selling price that's high enough. Or you fall into a category that Fiverr is trying to promote. It's just like anything else, right? Maybe you are from India and you speak with an Irish accent. They want to promote people from India who speak with an Irish accent. You are going to get to that place a lot faster, all right, than someone who doesn't fall under that criteria at that given time. All right, and this goes for anything. I have seen it time and time again. But the average selling price over Fiverr, okay, is probably around, with information, I can't tell you where I get it from, but from that's not true. My Fiverr seller success coach. I get that. But about a year ago, the average selling price across all of Fiverr was $55. Now you need to shoot for an average selling price, I think around $60. I mean, mine's $72, right? That's my average selling price. So, you have to consider that, when you get promoted to top rated seller, right, you are going to get more work. It is what it is. And they want to make sure that the work you get making more money because you are promoted differently than everybody else, right? You are afforded a lot more luxuries. You are given a lot more things. Like you get your money in 7 days. Like it only takes me 7 days to get paid instead of the 14 days that it takes everybody else, right? And that's one huge perk that I do like about being a top-rated seller amongst many other things. But your average selling price is a big thing. But when you're just starting out, you're just trying to get reviews and things like that. So again, it's different journeys throughout your Fiverr, career that matters. So I hope that helps. Let's see, John. Hi, Anthony. I hope you are feeling better. Thanks, man. JC says, my best gig, though, is movie trailer voice. Awesome. There are only like 400 of those. Maybe that's why there are lower impressions. Absolutely. But average 4 to 6 or so sales a week on that. Exactly. You're finding a place, right? You find a place that doesn't have a high number of people on it. Right? That's why I suggest you do as many gigs as you can when you're trying to rev up your business. Brand, we just talked about that. Chris says, thanks, man. I went through your Fiverr course and made a lot of recommended changes. Even if the numbers are lower than 1,000 a week, they're much improved. And I've started to get orders, not just crickets. That's awesome, man. That's awesome, Chris. Thank you. I'm Voice Guy 1971 on Fiverr. Awesome. Tom says, could be they use Fiverr instead of ACX because they are distributing the book somewhere other than Audible. And that's true as well. Right. Yeah. And you know what, now that you say that, Tom, as well, I have a lot of people too I work with who would like files completely as one file because they want to offer a downloadable version, right? As opposed to them just putting it on ACX and then giving ACX or Amazon full rights to it, because you have different choices on Amazon, right? You can do full rights or you can do half rights where you only get 25% of the royalties, but then you can publish it wherever you want to. Whereas if you give them full rights to it, you get 40% of the royalties. So it's different. All right, Eric from Twitter, what's up? I was just listening to your podcast and saw that you were live. Wanted to stop by and say hi. Well, great, man, Eric. That's awesome, dude. Thank you for listening and thank you for stopping by. John, yes, we're happy to have you. Absolutely. Steve, just to be clear, Anthony, once a customer places an order, it's an active order you're working on. You can exchange phone numbers before you deliver and they accept the final product. So it's okay. So Steve, let me preface this. Make sure it's a part of the order though. Okay. Not like make sure that it is built into the order. Like, they've purchased a live direction. Like, for example, my live direction this morning was from a Fiverr client, and they were like, hey, listen, we have an emergency session we want to get on. So I sent them a specific extra on the gig that is live direction. They paid the money for a session fee because it's a session fee, right? And that's how we work together. But it's very specifically set up. And if you message Fiverr, Fiverr will say actually that they need to approve what you are doing. Not each time, but I mean, they need to, like, they want you to message them saying, hey, I'm going to be offering this live, directed session, all right, gig or extra on my gig. And I just want to let you know, they recommend that. I personally did not have to do that. I just added it. But, I'm an advocate of Fiverr. I don't take business off of Fiverr. You know what I mean? And I know because of my contacts and stuff with people that they are aware of who I am. So I don't have that issue. But I'm just saying to you, and I actually message them quite a bit, just telling them things and thanking them. I try to thank Fiverr a lot for all the hard work they're doing as well. And because think about if you ever follow Fiverr in any other places, I mean, you think about people like just say the most horrible things to them all the time. So I try to, let them know how thankful I am that they work so hard on the platform because it's given me and my family so much. So I do that kind of thing. But again, I preface this with make sure it's a part of your gig, and to be safe, make sure Fiverr is aware that you're offering this. Okay. Jesse says, what's up, Anthony? Do you have a travel backup rig? What is it? Thanks, Jesse. Yes, I do have a travel backup rig, and that is I use, so it's not in the bag right now, but you can see this is Fet Head, all right, and from Tradition Audio, or Triton Audio, excuse me. And so basically you could see it on my my RE20 here, but I also have one for my Sennheiser. So I travel with my Sennheiser 416 with a Fet Head, and then I actually use my H5 Zoom, which I absolutely love. And of course I have a laptop that I travel with. So if I've got this, I've got my H5 Zoom, and it plugs into the bottom of this. It has phantom power, records it as high quality WAV files. It's got a SIM card. I can just take that out, put it into my laptop, and then fire away with my earphones in Adobe Audition, and I'm good to go. So I can travel with that. That's my travel. That's my travel kit, and yeah, that's how I do it. Good question. All right. Can you have many gigs? I'm assuming yes. So as a level 0, just starting out, you can have 7. As a level 1, you can have 10. As a level 2, you can have 20. And as a level 3, as a top rated seller, you can have 30. Question answered. Oh, sorry. Steve says, where do I go for Audible tutorial? Who's the best? Nacho Libre Audible tutorial. Me, I'm the best. I have an ACX course, or you can come to me and we can, Steve, we can do something. I started my stuff. I don't know if that's what you mean. I started my whole business working through ACX and doing audiobooks. So of course I'm going to promote myself, Steve, when I'm a voiceover coach, for goodness sakes. But there are some other people. You can kill me, Steve. There are some wonderful other people too. So I would say that working with me is great, but also I can't and all wholeheartedly tell you that, you know, I'm the only one. In fact, I really, really love Sean Pratt. He is an incredible guy. I've interviewed him. I've worked with him, right? He's been my coach. And he's amazing. Audiobooks. He's done over thousands of audiobooks. He's got an incredible training course, and he does a program that's extremely well. It's like 12 sessions. You pay as you go. I usually don't promote other people because I'm a coach as well, but he's incredible, and I've worked with him. So in all kindness, I couldn't say don't work with anybody else. If I would recommend somebody other than myself, it would be Sean Pratt. All right, and he's a part of our group as well, but he's an incredible guy. First off, he's an awesome guy and a very talented narrator, but more importantly, he's a great teacher. So, yeah, Sean Pratt. Let's see. Steve says, I meant Adobe. What? So then Adobe tutorial would be me too. I can help you with Adobe because I have my course, Steve. You're killing me, Steve. But I do like Tim Tippett for that as well. Tim Tippett is really good with Adobe Audition. But again, so am I. However, if you want to do something that's free and you don't want to charge for learning about Adobe Audition, I do actually have a very inexpensive course. I think my course is like $20, where I go over just everything you need to know to produce a very high quality thing. But I'm assuming, Steve, as I'm listening to all this, what you mean is how do you do ACX standards with Adobe? I have a YouTube video on that. That's actually probably one of my highest watch videos, except for my how to make your own demo. So you could find that on my channel, Steve. Boy, we went through all kinds. I dropped names, Steve. Thanks, buddy. All right, let's see. On Fiverr. Getting back, Beth says, "Oh my goodness, we're almost at an hour, you guys. We gotta end this up." On Fiverr, newbies start at 150 words for $5, and I noticed that other VOs add on other charges. Would that mean that a newbie could make something like 20 or 50 for that 150, which absolutely, Beth. I am so glad you said that, because I it's something I preach all the time. The extras are where we make our money. And it's so important. But in order for people who order from you to understand those, you have to make sure you add those in the FAQs. You've got to make sure you politely, and I say politely because you don't want to say, I will not work with you if you don't do this, because it makes it sound like you don't want to work with someone. And we want to work with these people. We just want them to purchase what they're supposed to. So make sure you kindly remind people what commercial rights are, what broadcast rights are, right? That happens in the FAQs, but you can also make a little note in your description. Then on the requirements page after they purchase from you, all right, add a multiple answer requirement and just put yes or no, and it will come up as A and B with little bubbles, right? Do you need commercial rights? This is what it is. And then you could send, and I will send you an offer if you click yes right after you're done. You can add that, and that really helps a lot. Okay, so absolutely you can. When they boost your gig, okay. You have wait, I went down the line here. Embodied says, is there a static? I think they got angry with me on Instagram, and it cut me off. I guess maybe it's only an hour on Instagram on the live for the story. I don't know. But let's see. It says you have an assistant today. Thanks, John. Is there a statistic that shows how much more effective a video commercial is with a voiceover versus without a voiceover, so that we can tell that statistic to potential clients? There actually is. There is a lot of stuff out there, and you can do a simple search for that. And there's definitely, and I've seen some numbers. There's a lot of numbers that are put out on YouTube, but also if you go to Facebook and follow the, sorry, I was getting updates on my, if you follow Facebook, if you follow Fiverr, boy, I'm loopy as well. If you follow Fiverr, they actually have posted a lot of stuff about this, that you can get some good links from them on their Facebook page. Let's see. What is phantom power? Phantom power is an extra 48 volts of electricity that is sent through that activates a condenser microphone and gives you that extra pickup. So you have a supposed to be a clear sound, but what it also does is make sure it picks up a lot more, right? So, that's what phantom power is, and that is on your interface, or or your a preamp, that kind of stuff. That's what phantom power is. It's usually a button or something like that, and it's 48 volts. You have to have that for a condenser microphone. With the FET head, see, so this is a dynamic microphone, right? The RE20. But with the FET head here, what it does, it allows me to use phantom power. So you can't use phantom power with a dynamic mic unless you have something like this, which is like a power regulator. Basically, what it does, though, is it allows me to boost the gain to a dynamic microphone so that I don't have to turn up the volume as high as you usually do with a dynamic microphone, because when you do that on an interface, it ends up making like if you're running the gain at the highest level on the interface, which sometimes you have to do with the dynamic microphone, the interface is going to be running loud. You're going to have noise in your recordings, and you won't be able to figure out what it is. Well, it's because it's your interface, because you're running the gain so high. So a FET head, all right, allows you to use phantom power, and then you can turn the gain way down and still get a really great crisp sound without having to worry about all the extra noise that's coming from running your interface so hot. All right, a few more, you guys, and then we're going to call it a day. Steve says, thank you for clarifying the phone number exchange. BDoggy45, how often do people care about gear in your gig description? Very little. Very little. However, very little people do mention it to me, but I won't say a lot. Does that make sense? Like, people do mention it to me, but they don't mention it to me very much. So people will say, like, I see that you use XYZ, and that's usually people clearly who are in the industry who know what those pieces are. But most people aren't going to know about it. What they do know is that I say I record in a professional space. That's important with professional gear. You understand what I'm saying? So that's something that that I do put down that anybody can understand. I will buy it today, amigo. Awesome, Steve. Let's see. John Clark, does your audio course cover Audacity? Yes, it's. Oh, Audacity. No, I got to do an Audacity one. I do not do Audacity yet. So I will be doing one for Audacity. BDoggy45. You're not the first one to ask, too. I've had a lot of people ask for that. BDoggy45. I see somewhat often, but not sure if people actually care most of the time. Right. Mike Russell is great at free Adobe Audition tutorials. Absolutely. I was going to mention Mike Russell. Mike Russell has put out so much YouTube. The only thing about Mike is that each video itself is over. A lot of them are like, some of them are short, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are like over an hour on each one. And after a while, it's really gets hard to watch all of them. But he's great. Mike Russell's fantastic. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Boy, this is by far, I think, most questions answered and asked and the longest session. But thank you. If you get an opportunity, please go ahead and subscribe to this, as well as the Fiverr Elite group, which I'm so excited. We're meeting tomorrow. We meet every Saturday. I would love for you to be a part of it. The whole point of that group is to do everything we can to grow each other's Fiverr businesses. I do reviews, free reviews of people's accounts. We use the data on each and everybody's gigs and stuff to actually grow their accounts. We dive into that. We talk about descriptions and your videos. I do demo reviews on that. It's a wonderful thing, and all of the sessions are free replays as well. If you can't make it or you want to go back and catch something you missed, it's really wonderful. There'll be a link here. You can go on to my webpage, www.aviosjourney.com. It's really fantastic. I can't speak more highly about the group. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'd love for you to join if you're interested in growing your Fiverr business and taking it to the next level. And by the way, we have a lot of wonderful people in there. We've had people in that group who have reached top rated seller as well. So it's really a fantastic group of people to be in with. I believe we're over 45 people in the group now. So very excited. So I'd love to have you. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I could do one for Reaper as well. Yes, Reaper is very popular, and I definitely need to do that also. So thank you for that, Lazarus. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Like, retweet, all that jazz, and subscribe. We're almost to 1,000. We're getting there, so I really appreciate it. Bye, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Talk to you later.